Okay, good afternoon everybody and welcome to the University of Sheffield virtual presentation. I'm absolutely delighted that you could be here today with us to find out a lot more information. So my name is Louise Tarrant. I am the Regional Recruitment Manager for Africa at the University of Sheffield. So I sit within the International Office. I have been at Sheffield for just under 2 years now. I originally started out supporting the Middle Eastern region and Africa, and I've moved up to more specialising within recruitment from Africa as well. So more than happy to help answer any questions that you have today, and we hope that you enjoy the presentation. I'm also delighted to be joined by my colleague Damia Wooskin, so I will let her come on and introduce herself as well.
Thanks, Louise. Hello, everyone. My name is Dami I've been working with the University of Sheffield for over a year now. I am the country representative for the University of Sheffield for Nigeria and Ghana. And I'm actually an alumni as well. So I actually attended the university myself a few years ago. So basically, every information that I give you is also from experience. So I'll pass on to back to Louise to introduce our ambassadors.
Lovely, thank you very much, Demi. And so also providing really valuable help today is one of our international student ambassadors, William, and he will be talking a bit more about his role at the university with us and also his programme of studies. But I'll pass over to William to say hello to you.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is William Kombia and I'm from Ghana. I joined the University of Sheffield last year to start my master's in philosophy. So at the moment, I'm almost about finishing my master's, and once I'm done, I hope to continue with my PhD, hopefully. But it's been a lovely journey so far, and there's no better place far away from home like Sheffield. So I'll hand over to Louise again.
That's lovely, lovely to hear your comments there, William. So what I will do now is I will just start to share my screen and we'll go into a more formal presentation. That'll be followed by hearing from William and his experiences, and then we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So bear with me 1 second. Okay, so welcome, as I said, welcome everyone. I hope you enjoy this presentation about the University of Sheffield. The picture that you can see there in the background is what's called our Firth Court building. And it's perhaps one of the most iconic images of the University of Sheffield, and it's certainly one of our oldest buildings as well. It is home to our biomedical sciences departments at the moment. But what kind of is nice and iconic about this image in the background that you can see is it's a very famous spot for when our students upon graduation day like to flock to this area and have their pictures taken with this lovely backdrop as well. And so hopefully you can kind of share in that excitement and see the kind of beauty of some of the history and historic buildings at our university. Okay, so we did do some quick introductions by ourselves, but just so you can see on the screen there who we are and who we're talking to you today. So why might you choose the University of Sheffield? So we are a leading global university. So in terms of the QS World Rankings as of 2020 this year, we rank 93rd in the world and 16th within the UK. We are also a member of the prestigious Russell Group universities. So we have particularly high rankings. But why am I telling you this? Well, hopefully that gives you the assurance that you'll be studying at a very prestigious university. It does put you at a competitive edge against other graduates within the market upon graduation as well. And it also means that you are studying in a research intensive university, in which all our academics and professors are also at the cutting edge of their own research. And they have that passion and determination to be able to share that with the students and really actively encourage you to get as involved with research as you can as well. And at the end there, you can see that we are a top 50 most international university. So we really do celebrate the benefit of international students, not just at the university, but also in the wider community of the city of Sheffield as well. Okay, so as I just mentioned, we are very passionate about our teaching excellence. So we attract over 29,000 students and really wide reaching as well. So we attract students from over 150 different countries. We have world-renowned scientists, thought-leading experts and technical innovators, and we are really proud of the fantastic staff that we have at the university. And I just wanted to share with you one example of this good work. So at the moment we have various different research teams. I'm going to be moving on to talk something about our Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre. And members of staff from this particular research centre are currently helping with the current COVID-19 global pandemic. They are helping build vital components for the ventilators, and in collaboration with our engineering departments, members of staff are also using 3D printers to print the face shields as well, which are going out onto the front line en masse at the moment. So, you know, we're very much at the forefront of helping to tackle this global challenge at the moment. So I just wanted to share with you some of the good practice that our staff are currently doing at the moment. So as I just mentioned, one of our fantastic partnerships is the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, or the AMRC for short. And this is a collaboration that we have with Boeing. It is an international leading global role model of this particular type of partnership between research and education. It's just kind of just on the outskirts of the city of Sheffield, over in a place called Rotherham. But obviously we work very, very closely in partnership with the university and also in collaboration with McLaren, Siemens and BAE. So this is by no means the full extent of courses that we offer at the university, but a small selection of certainly the ones that we tend to find international students particularly enjoy or like to find out more information about. You can see down the side there, we've got the 5 full faculties and some examples of the types of courses that we do offer at Sheffield. And top in the north of England for our graduate employment. This is very much attributed to the fact that we are a world top 100 university, as I mentioned. We are a research intensive university, but we also have put a lot of work in developing some fantastic partnerships with these top employers that you can see on the screen there. And how this works is that across all of our programs, we have a variety of different partnerships, whether that is having a guest lecture from these partnerships, whether it's at our undergraduate and postgraduate careers fairs, whether they will provide students with a live project to work on, so you're getting that fantastic experience of solving real industry problems and working alongside organisations to help solve those as well. We are very, we do appreciate and celebrate high achieving students. So we have a variety of international scholarships. So what you can see on the screen here is our international scholarship offering for 2020. The ones that I put up there, the application deadlines have been and gone this year, but I wanted to share to give you an awareness that Sheffield, is very passionate about offering scholarships to international students. So we have, for this year, we had what's called a merit scholarship. So the name suggests that it does go to those students who achieve high academically. And for undergraduate students, we had 50 scholarships at a 50% discount off tuition fees. And for postgraduate students, we had 125 scholarship opportunities at a 25% discount. There was an application involved in those. So there is kind of a few terms and conditions that you need to apply through. And then we also have for this year what's called an automatic scholarship or an international scholarship. And these were worth up to £2,500 off the tuition fee, depending on what faculty that the student was going to study on. So I wanted to highlight that these opportunities are available. Please do bear in mind this was the offering for 2020. And as of this coming autumn, we will be highlighting what our next year's scholarship offering would be. So you can see top corner here on all our slides have our international web pages. All you would need to do is go to that web page and you'd find all the relevant scholarship detail for the particular year of study you were interested in. And I'm now going to hand over to Dami, who's going to take over the next part of the presentation.
Thanks a lot, Louise. Okay, so in terms of our campus, we have a very inclusive campus. It's a very inclusive environment, and it offers students a well-rounded student experience. So the picture you can see in the background is actually the student union. Obviously, this is sort of how it looks like usually, but you can imagine with the new or with the current situation, due to social distancing and so on, and other safety measures, it probably won't be this busy sort of in the next academic, or at least in the beginning of the next academic year. So you can bear that in mind. However, all the facilities will still be available one way or the other, okay? So Student Union is a big part of the campus, and we are especially proud of it because it's considered one of the best in the UK. I'll talk a little bit more about that in later slides. So we have as part of the campus, we have a fantastic library. It's open 24 hours a day. It offers all the resources that you possibly need as a student. It has spaces for individual study. You can use your personal laptop. You can use the library's computer. You have a room for group study as well, and many creative spaces to allow you to basically do what you need to do as a student. And because it's open 24/7, the study pattern is library accommodates you. So some people, assimilate more at night, some people like on weekends, the studies, and so on. So whatever your plans are, whatever your session or your study pattern allows, the library.
Hi, Demi. Sorry to interrupt, but we are getting comments that the audio is breaking up. I'm not sure if this is maybe due to the connection.
Dami, I wonder whether you could stop sharing your video and then that might improve the audio.
Okay, I'll try that. Is it better now? Is there
definitely better for me?
Yes, it's better for me as well.
Okay, fantastic. All right then, sorry about that. So so I was just basically saying that the library is open 24/7, and it basically allows for any type of study pattern or whatever type of study that you wish to do at a specific time. So for example, if you're doing individual study, the library is available. But however, if you're doing group studies as well, there's space available for you to do that as well.
Hi, Danny. sorry to interrupt again, but I'm not really able to hear you. It's just the audio is breaking a lot.
Okay, let me see if there's anything I can do with regards to the connection. Okay, I'm sorry about this.
Danny, I'm happy to take over whilst you kind of have a look at that, if you'd like me to do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, just let me know if you need to jump in at any point.
Okay.
Okay, and we've also very recently put a lot of investment into our teaching and learning spaces at the University of Sheffield. So you can see there that we've recently invested £81 million into what's called the Diamond Building. So the Diamond Building is, well, first of all, predominantly it is an undergraduate engineering space. So you can expect to find over 18 different specialist laboratories, which cover the full extent of our engineering provision. But on top of that, the teaching and learning spaces, which are open to any student on any other discipline as well. So you're more than welcome to come and do any studying in that building and use the other facilities which you can see in there as well. And you might be able to tell from the background of this picture that the Diamond takes its name from actually the architecture of the building. It is a particularly striking building and it is internationally recognised, as the name suggests, for its diamond architecture. We are #1 students' union in the UK. We have held that title for 10 years running. So the Students' Union really does sit at the heart of the University of Sheffield campus and is run by a team of students. So they very much are very interested in hearing the students' voice. They're there to support you across a wide range of different issues, so including your teaching and learning, including your welfare, looking after any volunteering and sports activities. And they're very much there to help, as I say, spread the student voice and make sure any student issues are heard throughout the university. The Students' Union is also where you can find a lot of different activities and events to get involved in. So we have over 350 different types of societies. And I do know that our student ambassador will be talking a little bit more about the types of things that you can get involved in throughout the Students' Union. So I'll let them kind of speak a little bit more about that later. But also it's where you can access a variety of different advice and guidance. So for example, our international student support team sit within our Students' Union, as well as something which is called the Student Job Shop. So our careers team who will help support students gain employability. They will advertise all the student jobs which are available, not just at the university, but throughout the city of Sheffield as well. Do things like give one-to-one interview techniques, review your CVs and make sure that they are at the highest possible standard and that they can be as well. For anybody wanting to access chaplaincy services, they are available through the Students' Union, as well as being able to find all the kind of more fun activities, restaurants, cafes, food halls and things like that, which you can access as well. So we do guarantee student accommodation for international students. It's not just for the first year, although it is quite popular for students to want to stay in university managed accommodation in their first year. That gives them the opportunity to make lots of different friends, and then they may decide to move out and find accommodation in the city from there. If that's not the preference, then we are able to provide accommodation for students all the way throughout their time with us as well. There will just be, to access that, you will need to communicate with our accommodation team to ensure that they have the information that they need for that. You can see that we have been voted top 5 in the UK for our accommodation, and we've had this 6 years in a row. And so we are able to offer a very high standard of provision. And we also offer 24/7 maintenance and security. So please be assured that anything that does need fixing, we hope that it wouldn't, but help is very much on hand to be able to help with your accommodation. We also have what's called a residence life team. So this is a team of students who live within the accommodation, but they are very much there to support and help new students and current students to integrate within the accommodation and help you settle into your life at Sheffield as well. So they will run a variety of different activities to help you kind of meet new people and make new friends. But also at the moment, whilst we're currently going through the pandemic, they've been very good at sharing information about what students should be doing during the pandemic if they have made the decision to stay on campus. They have been sending out regular newsletters, for example, highlighting key points about the accommodation and the services which are on offer to students to access during this time as well. Okay, so I'm going to move on to give you a bit more information about the City of Sheffield itself. So you can see the background picture here. To give you an idea, this is what's called our Peace Gardens, so a really beautiful area of the City of Sheffield. In the background, if you can see my cursor there, we also have this building here, which is called the Winter Gardens. So I'll be talking a little bit later on about the kind of nice green spaces that you can access throughout the city, but hopefully you can also see from this image that we have some beautiful historic buildings throughout the city as well. In terms of location, so you can see the map of England there. So Sheffield sits relatively central to England. We would say that we are based in the north of the, based in the south of the north of England. So we are an area which is called South Yorkshire. In terms of accessibility, you can see there on a train, you are 45 minutes over to Manchester. Manchester is where our major international airport is, and we would always be recommending students who are flying over to us to land into Manchester. But we are also 2 hours down south on the train to the capital, London, as well. So that is certainly very accessible if you wanted to do a day trip or a weekend trip down to the capital. Very easy to get to on a train in a day if you wanted to do that. So the area of South Yorkshire, it is known for its welcoming, friendly people. It is also on the doorstep of what's called the Peak District National Park. So we always say that students at Sheffield very much get the best of both worlds. So you've got such a vibrant student city, but you also have an area of outstanding natural beauty, which is about 20 minutes accessible by car, perhaps a little bit longer on public transport to get out to the countryside as well. A fact about Sheffield, so it is England's 4th largest city. You can see there absolutely beautiful backdrop. So students sitting high up on the hill looking out on the whole city landscape there. And we're known to be in top 10 most affordable student cities. So in terms of making your money go further, Sheffield is certainly a very beneficial city to do that. So we are 25% cheaper than living in London, for example, but also 10% cheaper than the national average. So we do get feedback from students time again saying that they do have more money in their pockets to be able to do perhaps some more travelling, visiting different other major northern cities, also visiting other European cities as well. We are also known for our safety, so we are one of the UK's safest major cities. You know, a really good point, and hopefully that is reassurance that safety and security is there within the city itself. The backdrop here is what you can see. You can just about see it here. This glass windowed fronted building is called, well, we're in the Botanical Gardens here. This is certainly very, very close to the university campus, and it's one example of beautiful green spaces throughout the city. So we have over 80 different green spaces which are spread all the way throughout the city of Sheffield itself. Oh, there we go. And also historic buildings alongside that as well. So this that you can see in the background is what's called our Western Park. and this is Western Museum in the background there. And again, this is very much right next door to our campus, so students can enjoy perhaps on a lunchtime or in between lectures and seminars to enjoy the beautiful park spaces with friends, and perhaps take picnics out and really enjoy what the city has to offer on the doorstep as well. And then I just wanted to briefly move on to give you some updates about the support that the University of Sheffield is offering during the global pandemic. So in terms of our academic semester start date, so we are still currently planning for an undergraduate courses to begin at the end of September this year. And what that will look like is that absolutely where possible, we would like to be able to do safe social distancing face-to-face teaching in small groups where we can very safely operate within social distancing measures. And that will be supplemented by digital learning. We obviously recognise that obviously due to the global pandemic, there may be a wide variety of different issues as to why students wouldn't be able to join us this coming September. And we're very much putting plans in place for those students, and we will be communicating what teaching would look like for them. Then the majority of our postgraduate courses are going to be beginning the 26th of October. So there are a couple of exceptions there. So that's our professional and health related courses. We are currently still working out how they will look at the moment, and we will be communicating to all students as to what the start date for those particular types of courses would be. Because we have at the moment taken the decision to move the start date forward, this doesn't mean that this doesn't mean that postgraduate courses will be cut short. We are absolutely ensuring that we're going to use the full extent of the summer period to still be able to maintain and deliver the same length of course that you would usually get, obviously within a more usual year. And then we're aiming to obviously start postgraduate research students at the end of October as well. So during this time, we've tried to be as flexible as we possibly can. So we have opened up the English language test that students can use to be able to meet the conditions of their offer. So you can see the three in the centre of this slide here. We have opened up and allowed students to use these for their conditions. So the TOEFL IBT Special Home Edition, NC UK English Language Test, and Language Cert International ESOL are a few there. If you were to go over to our English language pages, you can find the full extent of English language tests that we do accept, because there is more than just the three on the page, but those are the three new ones that we are accepting. In terms of admission support, so we are very much in regular contact with overseas examination boards. Again, we do really appreciate that there's a wide variety of different circumstances as to why students might not be able to meet conditions of their offer during this time. We are kind of working very, very hard to collect as much information about a variety of different examination boards to very much work out on how best we're going to proceed forward. And as I say, we are trying to be as flexible as we possibly can, but we do need to ensure that we are maintaining that quality and fairness throughout this process as well. So those are still particularly important to us. And we also have included a new tuition fee deposit refund policy. So particularly for those postgraduate students who are asked to pay a tuition fee deposit to secure their place on their course. If for whatever reason related to COVID-19, you're unable to take up your place at the university, we've put a new refund policy in place to ensure that you obviously receive the money back from that. And then You may be aware that the UK has very recently introduced what's called the new graduate immigration route. So this happened in September last year, and we announced that there is a new post-study work visa for international students. So this includes a 2-year stay upon graduation in the UK. It is open to all international students who successfully completed their course. And it will begin as of the summer 2021. It does mean that there will be a new application process involved, and a new payment process, visa fee and immigration health surcharge. All that information will be communicated in time to any students who are looking to take up that opportunity, but certainly it's a fantastic opportunity to be able to stay on upon after graduation to help with any employment that you're looking for once you do graduate in the UK. And I've just included there some useful contacts for you in terms of any help and support that you may need during this time. So the top one there will take you through to the international office. We've got our English language teaching centre, anybody looking for any admissions queries. But what I wanted to highlight was a fantastic opportunity that we have at the moment to be able to chat with our current international students. So anybody wishing to follow the link here will take you to an online platform where you can search and see which students of ours are online. Perhaps they might align with a course that you're interested in studying. They might align with a particular student society or activity that they do at the moment. They might align with your nationality. They'd be more than happy to hear from you and help answer any questions that you have. So do feel free to make use of that service. And it's a fantastic way to kind of hear the kind of experience from current students at the moment as well. And you've got accommodation, and our international hub was developed for our offer holders. So anybody who may be holding an offer of study with us or are thinking about doing that in the future. We have a dedicated space for our offer holders where you can access a wide variety of different support videos, help, question and answer sessions that we have uploaded, both from staff within the international office, but also from the wider university, so you can access more subject-specific content, department content as well. Okay, so I'm now going to hand over to one of our international students ambassadors called Tafumi, who will introduce herself and give you a bit of a presentation about her time at Sheffield.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Tafumi. Hi. Are you there, Tafumi?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear us?
Can you hear me, please?
We can,
I
yes.
can hear you guys. Can you hear me? Okay, fine. So as I was saying, my name is Tafumi, and I'm an international student here on a postgraduate course for LLM Corporate and Commercial Law. So all of my experience with University of Sheffield, most of it professionally, is going to be based on law and the law school. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the school moved to online teaching. So this is my personal experience, and my personal experience for me was just that it was actually easier for me to move online because it was easier than going to classes in terms of being punctual and just saving more time for me. And since we've moved online, my lecturers respond to my emails faster, and I actually prefer that system regarding my coursework and essays and even dissertation support. And the School of Law has been very accommodating because I traveled very recently to go see someone who needed me, where I needed to an emergency. And they actually granted my coursework extension. So they've been very accommodating throughout the whole COVID-19 circumstances for traveling or any other thing like that. So as you can see, I'm also an international student ambassador, but this is not my only job. I also work a 16-hour shift at William Hill. But before I got these jobs, I didn't know how to apply for jobs. I really didn't know how to do a lot of applications, even professionally for law firm work. And to get better at this, I had to reach the career services. So this was during my first semester before COVID-19 took place, so we could still go around. So I really utilized the career services by seeing them twice a week. And it was extremely great and law focused. So what I would do was write an application and bring both the question on the applications and my own answer to them, and they would proofread my work and they would tell me how to structure it. And during my first semester, my focus then was mostly getting a vacation scheme, which for lawyers is basically professional experience at law firms. So I was meeting the career services twice a week, and and that led me to going through all the applications I applied to. I applied to 5 firms, and I reached the 4th round of all the firm applications due to their help. So I still went back after I did that. After that was secured, I went back for my application for this job actually as an international student ambassador, because I knew it was very competitive, and they looked at my transcript my application, and they preferred it for me, and they did the same with my William Hill application as well. So in terms of employability, which as I've said is going to be very law focused, I cannot speak on other departments, but what I did for what the School of Law does is bring certain managing partners or alumni students that are in reputable firms now to come back and give us talks, insights, and that kind of navigation help for us to use in our own applications. So it really enabled me because I went for so many that I got both the commercial awareness certificate and application certificate, and I have that on my transcripts now, which sets me apart from if I just had a straight degree that didn't show any extracurricular help. And the law school, doing the talks and visits by them, what I would do was I would do some research on the firms that were coming, and I would ask them questions that were on their sites for applications, and then I would use them when I was applying to better my chances, and it also worked for me. So currently, if you're an international student in the UK, you're entitled to work 20 hours a week. I do this by working 16 hours at William Hill and 4 hours a week at this job as an international student ambassador. And many people ask if it's if it is difficult, how easy it is to do that. And the truth is, it's very manageable, even without outside COVID-19 circumstances of being at home. It's very manageable with time management because I only do these shifts like twice a week, and I do William Hill twice a week as well, which leaves me more times like 3 to 4 days to study completely and just focus on my actual courses. So if you combine effective time management, if you have timetables, you have reminders, and you wake up effectively, you can combine studying and working here, and many international students do it, so you wouldn't feel pressured or feel like you're taking on too much more than you can handle. And that's everything I have to say about being an international student here on my course and how you can combine it.
That's lovely. Thank you so much to Funmi for that. It's really interesting insight into your time with us. And now I would be delighted to hand over to William to share his experiences with you as well. Are you there, William?
Yes, I'm here. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, thank you.
All right. As I've already introduced myself, I am William Somtuaka Kombian. I am from Ghana, and I'm studying philosophy at master's level. I did my undergrad in philosophy, and I am continuing my master's in philosophy with the hope that I'll become a philosophy professor soon. So I've already applied and got admission to do PhD research in the same university, which I hope I'm looking forward to. So it'll be a great experience. Now, that aside, there are 2 things I'd like to share when it comes to my experience here. And the first thing has to do with the city itself. When we was doing her presentation, she mentioned that the city is one of the safest and it is one of the cheapest in UK. To be honest with you, these are the two things I looked up to when I was considering where to study, because I had admission to other UK universities. So I chose Sheffield because compared to places like London, Manchester, and Birmingham, this place is relatively cheaper when it comes to rent and other living expenses. So as an international student wanting the best or quality for my money, I had to consider costs and safety too. So these are the two important things I considered when I was coming. But when I arrived, I was very impressed with how beautiful the city actually is. Quite a lot of parks. I love to frequent the Botanical Garden and Western Park and other parks around just to have a walk and clear my mind and think sometimes, or sometimes just to sit down and read a book. So it helps a lot. That aside, the city itself is so connected. Wherever you want to go, whether you want to jump on a bus or you want to use an Uber or city taxi or whatever, tram, whatever it is, the city is so beautifully connected. So it's not so much of a problem. But you might be asking yourself, it's not only about academics. What about other parts of, other important aspects of life? For me, film performance and cinema means a lot to me. So when I came, I looked out, and the first place that impressed me was the Lyceum Square, which houses different studios hosting live performances and films and all of that. So from time to time, usually weekends, I go there to just sit and enjoy some of the best performances. And I sometimes I go to the cinema just to enjoy some of the recent movies that are out, which is quite a nice experience, I must be honest. But that's, we should also know that once we are from Africa and not so used to Western foods and all of that, you'll be wondering, how am I going to survive in England eating fruits that are so strange to me that I don't really love the taste so much? Well, there's an African market where you can go have anything at all that you'd like to taste from your home country or from another African country that you are used to. So that's quite a nice experience that I've had over here. Now, the second thing I'd like to talk about will have to do with the university itself. And, sometimes you have some universities scattered across the city, but University of Sheffield is located within the city and with one of the most impressive academic infrastructure you will ever find. And I was so amazed. I was so amazed. And I hope you come and enjoy how beautiful it is. Now, aside from the usual academic work, there is a place we call 301 Skill Development Center. And I use that place a lot to help develop my skills in statistics, in research, in writing, and even how to study. It has been amazing. It's very useful and helpful to me. As we speak, last week I joined one of their online sessions for dissertation writing, and it was so interactive and impressive. That's one thing. And SU, as you've already heard, our Students' Union is one of the best. I don't need to say more about that because it's excellent. Now, one thing too is that as we study, we usually forget of our mental health. You are so engrossed with academic work that you hardly pay attention to your mental health. Recently, the Ghana Society, in collaboration with the Nigerian Society, we organized to have the university's mental health team join us to talk to us about it and draw attention to some of the things that we could look out for, especially what it has to do with our mental health. So I find that very useful too. Now, aside from that, sports, excellent. I don't even need to talk about sports because we have one of the best facilities in all of UK. My colleague just spoke about job, and I must say I was so happy she shared her experience because I have a similar experience. I frequent job center and the career services, and I got the best of advice to prepare my CV. aside from preparing my CV, how to successfully apply for a job. And at the moment, I'm working with one mental health facility, and I just go there, do observation and assist the nurses to take care of the patients on admission. So it's been an amazing experience, and it's easy to combine work and study because the work is not so demanding, and you have flexible schedule time so that you'll be able to manage your time very well. Now, when I came to UK, I had lost my mom before I came. And just recently, I lost my sister too. Now, that is not just to spoil your day, but just to tell you how my department and the university got so close to me and helped me through this difficulty. It's touched me so much, and I'd like to share that experience with you. Now, when my sister passed on recently, I got in touch with my academic advisor and my professors because I was working on my model essays with them. And they quickly sent email to the mental health team and the university welfare team. And they all got in touch with me to ask me what it was that I needed them to help me with. And all through, they consistently send emails and make sure they keep in touch with me to ask for whatever help I may need from the university. And I must say that has been very impressive. Being far away from home, having your own university, your own department, looking after you and making sure that even in your most difficult times, outside of academics, they are there to support you and give you that homely environment. I think that has been very impressive. And I must say it's the most, if I was to mention one thing that I love so much about the University of Sheffield, it will be that personal one-on-one support that the university gave to me when especially I had that terrible loss. So if you happen to come here, I can promise you you're going to love it and you're going to enjoy your stay at the University of Sheffield here. So we look forward to meeting you soon. Now I'll hand over.
Thank you so much, William. That's so kind of you to share those experiences with us today. And I certainly hope that our audience will have found those two presentations from our international student ambassadors particularly helpful. So I'm going to leave this screen up on the background here. We're going to move on to take any questions that you might have at the moment. But just to highlight to you, if anybody does have any very specific questions about any applications, specific courses and things like that, and please do email us directly. If I could particularly highlight Dami's email at the bottom here. Dami is our kind of in-country specialist for West Africa, so to send any kind of pointers or anything to her in the first instance, but obviously please do take a note of my email address as well. And as I say, we're more than happy to answer any questions that you have, and hopefully we'll be able to use to fund me and William to help with any student-orientated questions too.
Thank you, Louise, very much for a lovely presentation. It was such a pleasure to listen to this and also student experiences. I think this just added a final lovely touch, and it gives a nice feel to all potential students to what they can expect. We have quite a lot of questions, and I would like to encourage everyone to post any questions they have. I'm just a bit cautious about time because we have around 10 minutes only. So if anything specific or we have to answer anything in great detail, please email Louise directly or Dami or your SA UK counselor. If you don't have your SA UK counselor, please register with SA UK if you're joining this session through YouTube directly. The first question that we have is from Sammy, asking what is the selection process at the University of Sheffield like?
Okay, very good question. Hi, Sammy. Nice to have you with us. So I suppose that does depend on whether you're looking at undergraduate, postgraduates, and what particular course that you're interested in. Most of our courses, bar some of our kind of professional accredited courses, for example, medicine, which do have a few more admission processes and steps to go through in terms of things like having an interview, things like architecture. You'd find that you'd be kind of delivering a portfolio in terms of admissions, but pretty much most of our other courses you'd find that it would be for postgraduates an online application form. For undergraduates, every single undergraduate student does need to go through the UCAS application process. If there is a particular course that you're interested in, please do drop us an email. We can send you some more specific information about that particular course and let you know exactly how to apply for it.
Thank you, Louise. The next question is from Chika, who is looking to see what's the difference between postgraduate requirements versus undergraduate, and if university transcript, certificate, and CV are mandatory for undergraduates.
So in terms of, so the difference between undergraduate, sorry, was it difference between undergraduate and postgraduate?
Yeah.
Was that the first part? Yes, so I mean, you come out with a different level of qualifications. So undergraduate studies tend to be a Bachelor of Science, for example, Bachelor of Arts. At postgraduate, you're coming out with a higher level qualification. So you're looking at obviously a master's level. In terms of entry and admissions, I think the question was around a CV. So we don't take students' CVs per se. So if you're looking at undergraduate study, you'd be looking at completing what's called, the UCAS application process, but a large element of that, you complete what's called a personal statement. So in effect, you are putting a lot of the information that you might be putting into a CV into a written form in the UCAS application process. Similarly, if it's postgraduate, we have our own online application form, and you do write a similar personal statement within that as well.
Thank you, Lee. So we have a set of questions actually from Peace. So we have 4 questions. Question number 1, what are the entry requirements into medicine as an international student? Question number 2, what is the total cost for medicine? 3, what are the deadlines for undergraduate application for spring 2021? And the last question, is it compulsory to take English tests such as IELTS or TOEFL if you're coming from an English-speaking country?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you might just have to prompt me through those again as I go through them.
Yeah, so the first one are entry,
Yes. So for our medical program, probably what the best thing to do would be, we can obviously send you the full details. They can be quite extensive for our medical programs, and they do involve a slightly different layer and a couple of examinations that you need to take on top of your kind of standard meeting the academic qualifications. So I'm more than happy to put that into an email and send all that relevant information in to you. There was a question about deadlines, I think, or...
Yes, there is a question about the cost. Yes.
So in terms of costs, so you're looking at for the coming next cycle, you'll be looking at in excess of £33,500 per year. If that's undergraduate per year, please do bear in mind that that is a 5-year programme. Deadlines, I think there was one. If you're applying through UCAS as an undergraduate, students do have a deadline for medicine as of the 15th of October. So things like medicine, dentistry, veterinary do tend to have an earlier deadline through the UCAS application process. Any of the courses that students might be interested in as an undergraduate student, there is a UCAS deadline which is called equal consideration. So that's around about the mid-January point, where every student that universities receive an application from is considered equally for all the courses. This is in place because courses do start to fill up as the application cycle goes on throughout the year. Certainly doesn't mean to say that universities and Sheffield itself don't accept applications for other courses after that deadline. It just means to say that you do need to be mindful that the places on courses can start to fill up from there.
The last question is about English tests.
Oh yes, sorry. So in terms of if you're applying from West Africa, so UKVI publish a list of those countries that they do consider acceptable English-speaking countries to meet visa requirements. Unfortunately, West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana are not placed within that list, so it does fall into a requirement for visa purposes to provide English language tests. We have a lot of information online about our acceptable English language qualifications. We do accept things like the WIEC at a grade B or above if it's within the last 5 years, and we can accept that in lieu of an English language test. There may be cases where we ask students to provide ongoing evidence of their use of English language, but any applications that we receive, our admissions teams very much constantly communicate with students to make sure that we have the relevant information from you to be able to let you know exactly what we need.
Thank you, Liz. The next question is from Ike Chukwu. Would there be a provision for accommodation for one that wants to bring her family along?
Certainly, so we do have a wide variety of different accommodation options. So we do have specific family accommodation on site as well. Depending on whether you would be looking at 2020, 2021 or in the future, we'd very much encourage you to get in touch with our accommodation team so they can provide you with a wide variety of information about that. I believe the accommodation details email address was on one of my previous slides, so you perhaps be able to go back and get those details. Otherwise, please do drop us an email and we can send those details over to you as well.
Thank you, Liz. So we have quite a lot of questions about scholarships, and I think maybe we can just give a bit of an overview and just answer all of these, but I'll read them quickly. So Precious is asking, is there any reductions in fees or scholarships for international students? Then Alira is asking, are there any full scholarships for international students? Another question is, what are the requirements we need to get admitted into nursing as an international student, and how do we apply the scholarship? So I think probably various scholarships and how students can find information that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a previous slide which I shared with the scholarship information that we had for this year for students coming in September 2020. At the moment, if anybody is interested in September 2020, I'm very sorry to say our central scholarships offered by the University International Office have now closed. It is very likely for going forward that we'll be able to offer a scholarship offering which is very similar. So this year we had 2 different types of scholarships. We had a merit scholarship and an international scholarship. So unfortunately, they're not full. I know someone was asking whether we offer any full scholarships. Unfortunately, they weren't full scholarships. The maximum that we had there was a 50% discount off tuition fees. Depending on the course that you're interested in, for undergraduate and postgraduate students, we have a variety of different departmental scholarships as well. So, for example, we do have what's called Engineering Excellence Scholarships for those students who achieve top academic grades. There's roughly about up to £2,500 off tuition fees, and depending on the grades that you receive from there, it can if you, for example, if you were to get all A stars, you'd get the full 2,500, and it goes down, and from there, depending on the grades that you get. Things like particular courses for our postgraduate students, we have a couple of international scholarships worth up to about £10,000 for students going into arts and humanities departments. We have what's called Alan and Nesta Charitable Trust Fund scholarships for students looking at international development type courses, and we have a full extent of the different types of courses which fall within that scholarship. So there is a real kind of variety of different offerings that we have both within departments and from our central international office. I think I mentioned in my presentation, every year we tend to advertise our scholarship offering around the autumn time, so I would be expecting this to come out end of September, early October time on our web pages. So all you would need to go to is sheffield.ac.uk/international, and we have a specific scholarship section on our webpage, and the full terms and conditions and what that offering is will be detailed from the autumn time from there.
Thank you, Louise. So it's definitely great as a resource, but I also like to remind all students that they can get any very specific scholarship related information from their SA UK counsellors. Moving on to the next question, what are the types of accommodation and which is best for international students?
I didn't quite get what are the benefits of accommodation?
And I think like what is kind of the best type of student accommodation, I would say. Yeah.
If I'm completely honest, that's quite a difficult question to answer, because we hope within our accommodation offering that we try to cater for everybody's individual needs and wants. So I suppose it's kind of really over to you to have a think about what you would be most happy living in. So university managed accommodation, is particularly popular for international students in terms of you've got things like all your bills included in the same rent. You've got the Wi-Fi within there. On the slide we had 24-hour maintenance and security, so you know you're in safe hands. You've also got those team of students living within the accommodation to help you integrate and make friends, and they're a fantastic resource to go to. To help you integrate within the university. I wonder whether I can get a bit of an insight from either Tafumi or William to kind of share with you whether their views on any particular accommodation that you found useful or have particularly enjoyed living in.
Yeah, thank you, Louise. I think that's a very good answer because the question is quite difficult. So probably I would like to encourage students to get in touch directly with you and discuss specific needs. But if you're free, I would move on to the next question from Supayu, which is very specific. Can WAEC results be used instead of IELTS?
I think I briefly touched on that on my answer to one of my previous questions. So yes, we can accept a grade B or above, but we do. They do need to be sat within the past 5 years. So if they're older than 5 years at the start of the Sheffield start date of the programme, it is likely that our admissions would be looking for evidence of ongoing use of English, and it could be that we may still ask for a different English language qualification to be sat as well.
Thank you, Louise. So we have more questions about scholarships, which I believe covered well. So Peace, Rachel, Ahmad are asking for scholarships. I think that's well covered. The next question is from Chika. I don't have an international passport. I have heard a lot about this school. I would really love to join. I suppose this is just like a comment more than a question. Okay.
We can, if anybody does have any particular, immigration and visa questions, we do have a dedicated international student support team who can very much help with any of those types of questions, as they are the specialists within that field. And if anybody again wants to drop us an email, we can pass on that particular team's details.
I see more questions about fees. Poguma is asking for a fee for MSc postgraduate degree in accounting and finance. Then we have another question about what's the application fee. So maybe what is the best way for students to find fees for specific courses?
Yeah, we have what's called a fee lookup tool. So again, if you were to go to our web pages /international, you can actually look up the fees for every one of our courses, depending on the year that you're looking at entering. In terms of the question about fees for applications, so if you're a postgraduate student wanting to apply to the University of Sheffield, there is no charge for our own online application procedure from there, so that is free to use.
Thank you, Louise. The next question is from Octoduma. How soon will the school resume for the new section? I don't know if this is like regarding September intake.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the question is relating to study this coming autumn, September 2020, so at the moment the message is very much for undergraduate students. Will be starting with us as of the end of September. Postgraduate student start date has now been moved slightly further forward, so you will be looking at the 26th of October. In my presentation, I was describing that we are very much, the message is very much where possible, and we can do face-to-face teaching safely and with social distancing measures. And we will be continuing to do that. And then the teaching would be supplemented with online digital learning from there. For any students, obviously, if there are particular reasons, COVID-19 relating, that you're unable to join the university at those times, there are plans being put in place to be able to still start the course, but obviously we'll be looking at more digital learning from there. That's our current messaging at the moment. Please do bear in mind that this may change or shift or alter ever so slightly as we progress through the pandemic, but anybody who makes an application for us for this coming September 2020, becomes an offer holder with us, very much gets all the relevant communication as to any new news which is coming up to them from there.
Thank you, Louise. The next question is from Nara. Do you offer PhD in architecture?
We offer a wide variety of different PhDs. So you can actually look up and see the full extent of our different PhD offerings if you were to visit our web pages. Again, if you do a search for Find a PhD, you can either search via supervisor or project or course. And I'm suggesting that you do this because it could be that we have a related PhD to do with architecture, but it might not just be simply headed to a PhD in architecture. And the best way to kind of really go about getting the full information would be to speak directly to a supervisor and ensure that the course that they're delivering is going to be the best fit for you.
Thank you, Louise. The next question is about fees for Masters in Computer Science at Sheffield.
Yes, you're going to be looking at it depending on the course, because there are a variety of different master's courses within computer science. So I would obviously encourage you to look at the PG fee lookup tool from there on our web pages, but you are going to be looking at around about the £26,000 per year.
Thank you, Louise. A very specific question. Is MC80 compulsory for medical students?
MC80. If I'm completely honest, I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that question. Do we know whether it's undergraduate, postgraduate medicine? I'm
not really sure what this is. I would encourage students to just email directly you, Louise, and then we can look into this because it's very specific.
Yeah, we can clarify that, no problem.
Yeah, definitely. And another question, how much is the immigration fee for F1 students?
So in terms of the visa immigration health surcharge fee, so you can get full information from obviously I mentioned our international student support team. You'd be looking at if you're specifically talking about the immigration health surcharge fee, I believe it's around about £300. I would really encourage you to speak with our international student support team, who'll be able to give you the full kind of information about all the different charges which are involved within making that application. They have their specific pages on our website as well. So you could just, again, the search function, just do applying for a visa, and you'll be able to find the information from there.
Thank you, Louise. So the next question is from student asking about visa. How can I get my student visa?
Yes, certainly. So we do appreciate that. Do we know whether we're talking about for this coming September 2020?
So this is not specified in the question, but I would say yes.
Yeah, no worries. So obviously at the moment there are, across the globe there has been a lot of closures of different visa centres. We are encouraging students to wait for information about kind of making the applications in-house. We do also have a lot more information on our web pages, as explained via our international student support teams from there. And then there is the process when you make an application, become an offer holder. We have something which is called a CAS, so Confirmation of Acceptance of Studies, which you do need to request prior to making the application for a visa as well. This is a process which is communicated to students who make an application with us and then progress further down the line with us.
Thank you, Louise. So the next question we have from Ayed Bakban. Who is to get the accommodation for me, and what is the procedure to get an accommodation?
I didn't quite catch the first part of that in terms of who.
I would say, I mean, if I have to make a guess, I think what the student is probably asking if accommodation is something to be requested before or after the application, but it's not very clear, really, because it says who's to get the accommodation for me. So
yeah,
maybe if this is done by through SA UK or directly with the application, if I have to make a guess.
Yeah, sure. So there is room for if an agent wants to work and help a student look for accommodation and go through that process, there is room to be able to do that at Sheffield. It probably might be something that you would want to be doing yourself, because obviously it's your choice of where you want to study. We have a lot of for example, 360-degree tours around our accommodation pages online. You can go in and kind of see the exact rooms, what they look like from there. So it's probably something that you would want to be actively involved in yourself. When you, again, make an application, become an offer holder, we have what's called a Muse portal at Sheffield. And there is a particular section within that portal which allows you to go in and make your accommodation sections from there. So you do obviously need to make the application to us first, and then we communicate to you how to go about applying for accommodation. There is a lot more information, and I put our accommodation contact details on one of my previous slides if you would like to contact the dedicated team from there as well.
Thank you, Louise. So I'll just skip through scholarship questions because we gave a lot of information. And the last very specific question that we have for today, I'm not really sure I understand it, but I'll just read through. This is from ICO, and the question is, when is the resumption starting and what are the procedures?
So from my understanding from that is it's about start dates, academic start dates. But do correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I would say if I have to make a guess.
Yeah, and if we're specifically talking about September 2020, so if it's undergraduate students, you're looking at the end of September, so 28th of September. Postgraduate students, again, we have shifted the start date ever so slightly to the 26th of October at the moment. Again, I do need to say that these decisions may shift slightly as we progress through to deal with the global pandemic at the moment. Postgraduate students need to go through what's called our postgraduate online application system. Again, if you visit our web pages, you can find the full details and make that application online from there.
Thank you, Louise. I think that's it from questions. I would like to thank you for hosting this session with SA UK today, and for giving our potential students a bit better feel of what they can expect if they choose Sheffield. I would like to thank all students for joining today, and if you would like to wrap up the session, please do.
That's lovely, thank you so much. Yeah, we were just delighted that you were able to join us today. We hope that you found the session useful. Please do refer back to any of the links that we've used at the presentation for more details, and you can see at the bottom of the screen there myself and Dami's email contacts. I'll just very quickly pass over to Dami. I know that she cut out halfway through a presentation, but she may just want to say a quick goodbye.
Yes, thank you so much, Louise. I hope you can hear me. So I've just added some links that will be helpful to answer some of the questions in the chat box. So students can actually go click on that, which will take you to the section of our website that will give quite a lot of information on some of the areas that you've asked about. I'm really sorry I couldn't sort of be a bigger part of the presentation, but as Louise has said, my email address is there, so you can always contact me privately, and I'll do my best to respond to any questions that you have. So thank you so much for being a part of the session. Thank you so much, Louise, for helping me out with my section as well, and to the ambassadors as well.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. We'll say goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.